Well, here we are. The end of the road. But it's not really an end of the road. We are just branching off at a really, really dangerous fork in the road. And I am very concerned for all the metahumans that are in the DCU because holy moly, they may have some pain coming their way. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strong from QuickTime Reactions and Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 8. The longest of the series. We finally have a long episode at almost an hour. It is entitled Full Nelson, once again being written and directed by James Gunn. Chris is in prison and does not want to see anybody ever, not even his friends. Meanwhile, his friends are actually discovering alternative worlds in that QUC to see if there is something more hospitable, more habitable for humankind on the other side. But is that really what Argus is using it for? We're going to have to find out. So, this episode actually opens up like much of the other episodes in this season has opened up with a flashback. We flash back to about a month. No, it was a month. And Harcourt and Chris are, out having, a nice little dinner at Big Belly Burger. They're having fun, cutting a rug, getting drunk, and Chris actually breaks up a potential fight between Harcourt and a dude. And I thought, wow, they actually averted a conflict. And then, of course, we get to the boat. What happened on the boat, which was actually a rock cruise. The band that was performing was Nelson. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk about what happens on the boat right now. But they, of course, go on to the boat. They listen to one of the songs, and they have a nice little moment on the boat where they kiss. And Harcourt just immediately just I gotta go, and just bolts off. And that is what Chris has been talking about when he's like, what happened on the boat. Of course, Chris is in jail. He doesn't want to see, his friends. And so Ads goes over to Adrian's house and, tries to convince him to, use his money that he's gotten from, all the things that he's done to, get Chris a good lawyer so that, they can get him out. And Adrian's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. This is blood money. If you use blood money and stuff, you're going to get a curse. And I love what Ads does. She basically just kind of, not necessarily blackmails Adrian, but gets him in a roundabout way to use the money, which I thought was pretty clever. And so, yeah, the big question was how are they going to actually break out Peacemaker from jail? They just paid his bail. It's pretty easy. So Chris is I'm just gonna go to a hotel. I don't want to see anybody. He actually stopped by Economos' house to pick up Eagly, and they went and just the 11th Street kids get together, and they were like, John, why didn't you stop him? And John's like, you think I'm gonna try and stop him? And they basically just kind of formulate a plan, and they remember, oh yeah, there's a bomb in Chris's neck from the Suicide Squad. Can we not track him using that? And they're like, well, we're kind of, out of access to, all things Peacemaker related. So no, we can't. So they're going to have to come up with another way. Meanwhile, Harcourt, of course, has her job back at Argus, and she, along with Flurry, as well as a whole host of others, are exploring all of the different doors. The first door that they actually open and they go into is this kind of Candyland dimension with these nice little, like, cute little imps that have, like, really sharp teeth and actually, like, attacked them and, mauled one of the dudes. I think it was Pony Boy, maybe, mauled him, and when and I also love the fact that when Harcourt shot him, they like exploded into like sparkles and like just had like rainbowy like blood, and it was just like had glitter blood essentially. I thought that was really cool. One door led to just a black hole. Another one, of course, this one was shown in the trailer, was the Spider Skull world. Another one led to what I assume is the Walking Dead universe with a whole bunch of zombies. In fact, one person who went in got bit and got turned into a zombie, got shot right on the spot. So they just keep looking and looking and looking until they find a place. And once Flag gets this information, he actually goes to the same, I believe the title Secretary General, that we saw in Superman, and basically pitches him the idea of salvation, a prison world for all metahumans on this planet, where they will take the metahumans of this planet, take them to salvation, and basically just keep them there. And you see on Bordeaux's face, like, I don't necessarily like this. And so she arranges a meeting with Harcourt to talk about this, and Harcourt's like, I don't know if I can help you out in this instance, but I think I know someone who might. And gets her in contact with Adebayo, and so they start to formulate a little bit of a plan. And my assumption is like, we'll help you out if you help us out in finding, where Peacemaker is. And so they go back to Argus, where, of course, everyone's set up shop, and Sasha's trying to like hack in and try and find where Peacemaker is. Meanwhile, John just has to stand there and just like stall, and he's such a shitty staller, horrible at making up stories, and he's just like fumbling it left, right, and center. One of the deleted scenes, yes, there are more than one deleted scene in this episode. One of the deleted scenes was him just continuing on his just like spewing of BS, but eventually he does get one person to laugh, which I thought was pretty funny. They are able to track Peacemaker down to a hotel, and they basically, corner him and have a nice conversation with him in his hotel room. And Danielle Brooks, man, she was really good. She had two standout moments in this episode. One being with her girlfriend or wife, Kia, and basically was like, look, when I got into what I got into, like, I thought it was just going to be like a side thing where, I'd make my money, we can go and start our business, and, it'd be perfectly fine. But I end up taking to it like a fish out of water. And granted, my business hasn't been the best, but, I like doing what I do, and I can't have you in my life, because if you are, you're going to die. And if we stick with our original plan, I'm going to feel like I'm trapped. So I'm going to have to let you go. And Kia's like, I understand, and I'm glad that you were finally able to tell me. And then in the hotel room, she says, Chris goes on this whole thing. It's like, wherever I go, there's always going to be trouble. I killed my brother, killed Rick Flag Jr., I killed my dad. I go to a different dimension and I kill myself. And Adebayo shoots back at him. It's like, Waller tasked you to kill Flag Jr. Your dad told you to fight your brother, and you shouldn't have gone to the other dimension, and you shouldn't have, and your dad was, a pretty shitty dude. It's like, you make those decisions because you haven't cared about yourself. And what happens when you are, around us? You touch our lives. I'm a better person because of you, Chris. And Adrian says, you're my best friend, dude, and, I can't do anything without you. And, of course, when they're outside the hotel room, Chris asks, that moment on the boat, did that mean anything to you? And, of course, Harcourt dodges it at first, but then comes back around to it and says, yeah, it meant everything to me. And, all of them leave. Chris goes back into his hotel room and, is celebrating live long day. He's like, yeah, yeah. And the title song actually comes back around. And it shows everybody. I'm talking all the 11th Street kids, Sasha, Flurry, Judo Master. They're setting up a new office. They're getting everything ready, and it is called Checkmate. Now, I'm not well versed in the DC Comics realm, so let me know down in the comments what Checkmate actually is in the DC Comics, because I feel like it is important. But they get that everything's set up. Chris and Harcourt are doing good. Everything seems hunky dory until when Chris makes it back to his apartment. Argus agents show up. They basically bag him, put cuffs on him, get him in a truck, and take him to the facility. And they put him through door. And Flag's like, I got to do my due diligence first with, testing out this world before we send metahumans through here. So, you're going to be our little guinea pig here. Oh, and by the way, this is also for Ricky. And the door shuts. Chris is left on Salvation. And you hear all these scary, scary noises out in the distance. What's on Salvation? Again, let me know down in the comments below what Salvation is, because I'm very interested to figure out what may happen. Because, again, this is supposed to be a lead-in to Man of Superman. Or, not Man of Superman. Man of Tomorrow, which is the next Superman movie. So, and the way that I see it right now, and again, this could potentially change, Flag Sr. is going to be the villain of Man of Tomorrow. Because my assumption is he's going to go after the Justice Gang. Not only just the Justice Gang, he's going to go after Superman. And he's going to use Lex to try and get Superman. He's going to, build him this suit that we've, of course, seen in the art that was posted. But then my assumption is, because Flag has all of Luthor's guys, that they may side with Flag, and that is how Luthor and Superman team up, and they try and save the day. I don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen in that movie, but that is just my general idea right now. But yeah, that is season 2 of Peacemaker all wrapped up. I have to say, this season is, I would definitely say it's better than season 1, but just by a little bit. And what I mean by like a little bit is because like there were far more emotional moments in this season than I think there was in season 1. However, I do recall them saying that there was going to be a big cameo in this final episode. And to my eyes, to my uneducated eyes, I should say, there wasn't one. And that is probably going to be kind of a letdown to some. Meanwhile, I really enjoyed the last episode. I thought it was a really good way to cap off the season. But yes, I could see some people might be slightly disappointed that there's like no, big name cameo at the end of the season. But I would definitely say season 2 is an improvement over season 1. Lots of good emotional moments, really good acting throughout the whole cast, and there were a lot of really cool moments throughout the season, and it was a really, really fun watch. But yes, this ends our journey of Peacemaker for now, anyway. Hopefully, we get to catch up with him, and hopefully, he is not dead by the time we catch up with him in the DCU. But until next time, guys, be safe out there, and I just hope that, there's no program here in the US where, they take, people who have, like, either, like, really good intelligence or, any kind of, deformities and, put them on an exile planet and, just leave them there to die. I don't want that. I sincerely don't want that. That seems like really, really scary. Yeah, I don't want that. And I will catch you guys next time.